People, deluded, I'm back again. Now, obviously, the season isn't finished, but we're going to move very quickly into pre season. The grind never stops. I've told you lot 17s, 18s, 19s, 21s, under 20s, and Toulon. So there's a lot of youth tournaments for me personally to watch. But football never stops. When all of that's done, we'll be in July, late July, as you know, sometimes early June. Teams will be coming back for pre-season for free. Anything from, I've seen teams do 3 weeks, which is crazy, 3 to 5 weeks, and the tours in X amount of countries and whatnot. Yeah, Chelsea done a tour in America. Well, went America quickly before the Europa League, so you're seeing it. And it's a time to get players out, bring players in. But Unai Emery, we need to remember, at least in the early weeks, he might struggle in terms of players might not simply be there, because I don't know how Arsenal will do it. You know, Wenger previously gave players a month off if they were competing in summer tournaments. I think 2 weeks is fine, and I think a lot of players will be rushing back. But Leno's been selected for Germany. Obviously, Lacazette, to our credit, sadly for him, misses out. But Leno's in Germany, the Germany squad. I don't know if it's been announced, but Monreal might go with Spain. I don't even know if Switzerland have qualified for the Nations League, people. But Xhaka, for example, might go. And I'm sure you can invent several other scenarios if there are players that can be called upon for their countries for that. So if they're at their tournaments, you'd like to think the majority of them will be back for pre-season. But you'd also think, in terms of rest, fatigue, and just needing a layer from the previous season and burnout and stuff, how much of a rest will he give them? If they're not there, when they come back, obviously you can get to speed with the tactics and stuff. But if they're not there, especially the first teamers, it makes Unai Emery's job harder. Because could you imagine people trying to coach your defensive backline and members of your backline aren't there? Of course, it's good for the man them that are there, but and footballers are intelligent, so they'll pick it up quickly. But you see how tough it can be, people. So there's a couple of movements. But in regards to the young players, I don't know. If I was Reissnelson, Maitland-Niles, two that are probably likely to go off with England's under-21s in the championships. Guendouzi's been called up to France. I know he's not at our club, but so is Jeffrey and Adelaide, big him up. Bielik, after the season he's had with Charlton, allegedly there's interest from German clubs now for him, but he might go with Poland's under-21s, and it's in his homeland, so I know he's probably dying to go and do that. All three have decisions to make. I would want to play in this tournament and things like that. They've all had decent seasons. Maitland-Niles has made progress into the first team. Nelson made a lot of appearances for Hoffenheim, and Bielik's on the verge of possibly getting promoted into the championship with Charlton. Three players people look at and think, yo, these lot could play first team at some capacity, specifically Nelson and Bielik, because they're on loan now. So it's a difficult one. I would want to go with my nation and play and get some experience, but at the same time, if I'm Nelson and Bielik's case could be, I've spoken about it, but both of them want to be used in the squad of some sorts. If they're out, it could be a case of being out of sight, out of mind. Now, again, they won't be playing at these tournaments while we're at pre-season, at least I don't think, but the rest period, if they're going further in the tournament and in the rest period, Emery's going to be trying to pattern what he wants to do next season. If you're out of sight, you're out of mind. There might be some other young players that take advantage because you're not there and other first team players are not there, but out of sight, out of mind. Now, of course, Nelson, Maitland-Niles are going to be used next season at Arsenal, at least I hope. Small hope for Bielik. Bielik's got a tough decision to make, like I tell you in every vid, because I think he can be used in some capacity here, but he needs to play somewhere where he's guaranteed games where he can kind of set up shop and build his roots into the club sort of thing. And he was farmed out on loan. He's of that age. He's 21 or so, 22 in January, where you need to, if they're not going to believe in you, you probably need to go elsewhere. So they've all got tough decisions to make. Guendouzi's obviously had a good season, and there might be an air of complacency. He has to start again and earn his. Everybody starts again in pre-season and has to earn their shirt again. So is he going to go off with France? And to be fair, France got some ridiculous players. They got Aouar in there, Upamecano, Mangala Sarr is there, René is there, Toussaint is there, Akone is there. They got a very strong team and a good chance of winning it. So. And it's good, man, because I swear Guendouzi's not always been getting called up to France's under-21s. I'm sure he's got small hope, like Lacazette, of possibly being involved at Euro 2020. But in regards to the first team, would it be wise him going off with the under-21s? And especially because he played a lot this season, more than he played at Lorient. Again, I think fatigue and burnout is overrated, but in terms of, it's relevant, but in terms of how professional these footballers are and the analytics and all these things. I'm thinking more mentally, people, because it's a long season, heavily scrutinised. Could you imagine being Guendouzi? Some people think you're the best thing since sliced bread. Some people think you're absolutely far. You're playing a lot. You're an unknown. You've been playing a lot in Arsenal. I believe in, more than anything, mentally allowing players to take 2 secs from all of this madness and recharge their batteries. Ironically, that might be given to them playing for France, where it's different, or England or Poland, where it's different contexts and things like that. But you've got to think all of these lot want to make progress into the first team or establish themselves. If they're out of sight, they're kind of out of mind. Obviously, Guendouzi and Maitland-Niles are going to feature a lot under Unai Emery as they have this season, but you get the point. And he's not been called up to Copa America, but I've seen Martinelli are allegedly our new signing until I've seen it's officially been confirmed. Been invited to train with Brazil for the Copa America. Now he's not in the squad, he's just simply training. For him to possibly train with Neymar and all them players is great. How much did Edu, someone who's linked with coming to our club, have to do with that? I'll never know, people, but I'm sure you get the point. So you've got Martinelli, you've got Bielik, you've got Nelson, and you've got Guendouzi and Maitland-Niles. That's about 5 young players that could feature at some capacity for our first team. If they're not going to be around for the start of pre-season, how much is it going to be disrupted? And I also have to feel about Unai Emery, how much is his plans going to be disrupted? Because it's not going to get any better if he's here for a third season. Because next season it's not going to get any better. Well, yeah, for a third season, 2020-21, because half the players, assuming some of these players get called up for Euro 2020, a lot of them are going to be there, and again the same thing will happen. And then the following season he'll get allowed, I believe, and then it's the World Cup, or he might even never get allowed. Yeah, he might do, because it'll be 2019, 2021, it's 2019-20 next year, then it's 2020-21. Yeah, he will get a break, and then if he's here for 4 years, including the year he's been here already, it is in that regards. Quick word as well. I found out that allegedly Mario Hermoso, Espanyol defender, who's been linked with Arsenal, very decent, 23 years of age, 20 million reports allegedly. Apparently, Real Madrid have a 7 million buyback clause. Now, do they want to bring him back to be a squad player? Do they want to bring him back to sell him on to sell on for more money? With PSG, Arsenal, and Munich interested. If I was Madrid, possibly float that idea, and they've done it in previous years with Pedro Leon, and that's probably the best example. And there's been, how many young Spanish youths have Madrid sold and brought back, people? You lot know yourselves. And in terms of Sanye talking about in the last 2 years you need to know what to do with a player, Mustafi's, we don't need to speak about it, but Mustafi's one you might be seeing leaving the club, or futures in air, contracted until 2021. Aubameyang and Lacazette and all these other players are in talks. You're hearing none so with Mustafi. And apparently he's spoken to Kicker in Germany. I've just seen this online, and it said it's odd that it is odd that there are always transfer speculations. I'm an Arsenal player and I have a contract until 2021. Is that someone who wants to leave? Is that someone playing chess? I'm not too sure. It's going to be a crazy summer in some regards. On that note, I'm kicking out. So people, deluded, stay safe. I'm out though.